Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. In this video, I will be doing my Samoa Sevens preview for the upcoming London Sevens. But if you do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Nonetheless, let's get straight into this preview. So Samoa, they were so close, yet so far away last week. They were able to get themselves 4th place. But for me, from what we saw last week, I think they can finish even higher this week. So it will be interesting to see how they go in London. But I'm looking forward to it. They are a part of Pool D once again, although different opposition in that pool now, as we will get to in a very short moment. But first of all, looking through their previous fixtures, their first win in Toulouse was up against Spain, and it was 42 points to 12, so a very comfortable start to the Toulouse Sevens for Samoa. Then looking through at their next game, it was up against Ireland, and they were able to win it 27 points to 14, remembering that Ireland are the side that made it through to the final. It was just unfortunate that Samoa did have to go head-to-head with the side that were able to win the whole thing, Fiji, in the semi-finals. But I should mention, if Fiji and Samoa both top their groups, Fiji, they are in Group A, Samoa, they are in Group D, which does mean that if both of them top or both of them are second, they won't have to play off in the quarterfinals, and I believe that also means they won't be playing off in the semi-finals, which is exactly what we would love to see as the final, Samoa versus Fiji. It's going to be tough to get it to sit that way, but with the opposition that Samoa have got in their pool, I'm relatively confident that they will be able to finish quite high up there. In their next game, it was up against South Africa, and they were able to win that one 19 points to 7. So a very impressive win for Samoa, and that kind of started the downfall for South Africa. They had many losses after that point, actually finishing in about 11th last week in Toulouse. So that is something that South Africa will certainly want to improve on, but then they made their way through to the quarterfinal. They had a tough game up against England, in which they were able to win it 26 points to 24, remembering though, Samoa did actually have a red card for a lot of that match, and then from there, England went on to get themselves 2 yellows. So that kind of reversed the momentum. At one point, we were actually watching 6 versus 5, and it's hard enough having 7 men out on either side, but as soon as you take 2 away from one side and 1 away from the other, the space just opened up. And we did see that later on in that match. And their semi-final matchup came around for Samoa, and this is where the journey ended in terms of those final hopes, as they were defeated by Fiji 28 points to 7. Not so close for that match, but saying that, Samoa, it didn't seem like they quite played that same game that they had up till that point, and unfortunately for them, just didn't quite get themselves over the line enough. And they did have a couple opportunities in that game that they did end up just getting a little bit wrong, including one from Pelo Maliko, but I won't mention what it was because I feel like it was one of his only mistakes that he made throughout the whole competition. Just didn't quite work out the way that he would have liked for putting the ball down. But then looking through at the next game that they did have, it was for the 3rd or 4th playoff game, and they did end up losing to France 17 points to 12 in the end. So they will be a little bit disappointed with that, Samoa. But France, they're a tough side. They were at home in front of an audience that just absolutely wanted to see them win, and they did just that. So that is where Samoa finished. They finished 4th this week. They are once again in Pool D. Like I mentioned, their first game, it will be up against Japan at 10:44 PM New Zealand time. And that should be a relatively one-sided affair, I would think, between the two sides. Then their next game, it's up against Scotland at 1:50 AM. That game will be a lot more challenging, as Scotland have been looking pretty decent as of late. They were fighting hard against the Kiwis, and also they were able to get themselves a win over the Blitz box at the end of last week's competition. Then the last game that they have got, it will be up against England, so a rematch of that quarterfinal fixture, and that game will be taking place at 5:33 AM New Zealand time. So a relatively late night one for us here in New Zealand, but hopefully we will be up and we will be doing the commentary for that game. And nonetheless, now looking through at a few players for Samoa that I feel will be able to step up. First of all, I am actually going to go with Pelo Maliko, because other than that mistake that I mentioned, he was spot on throughout the whole competition, and I think he will be able to score quite a few tries and also be able to set up a few for his teammates. Then another name, I have got Milani Matavao, is looking very good as one of the co-captains, really cementing himself as one of the leaders of that Samoan side, who are still extremely young. So it's important that you have got those guys stepping up and showing those young guys which way to go. And I mean, some of them, they look like they've been playing for a very long time, even though they've only had like 2 competitions. Some of them look like veterans, and I'm hoping that will continue for this match. And then the last name that I have got, it is going to be Steve Onisai. He scored a huge amount of tries, and that man is just a beast down the wing, quick, determined to be able to score as many tries as he can, and I think he might be able to almost reach double figures for this competition in London. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next one.